Hello everybody and welcome to another video. This time on the channel I don't want to talk about news, I want to talk about something that I've been doing. It's a bit of a weird one, and if you'll bear with me I'll explain it in just a second, but it does relate to Transformers. If you've been following me on Blue Sky, and if you don't, you can find the description down below, you might have noticed over the last couple of days I've been experimenting. Experimenting about what, you may ask? Well, okay, so here's the thing. If you know me, or have spent any time with me, or even just casually bump into me online, you might know that I am a massive fan of Dreamwave's Transformers. Why, you might ask? Well, actually because of the fact that it was really Dreamwave's Transformers that got me back into the franchise and back into the fandom. So even though I can objectively turn around and say it's not the best Transformers comics going, it holds a very sentimental place in my heart. Not only that, but I think the way the Dreamwave experiment ended in Calamity and Flames lends it a little bit of unfinished business. You know, there's an awful lot that we don't know, especially about the ongoing series. We've been able, however, thanks to Simon Furman, to be able to piece together an awful lot of what was actually going to happen in his series, even to the point that we've been able to reassemble issue 4 of the War Within Age of Wrath series in its entirety. Like, we now have that issue pieced together from posts from artists and Simon's collection, things like that. Now, there was one other thing that came out of Dreamwave, which was that because a lot of the latter day stuff the creators didn't get paid for, it means that it has either never been published in trade paperback or alternatively has never been republished at all. So for example, the entire ongoing of the Dreamwave series, in order for you to get hold of that, you need to buy the original issues because it was never traded, even though it got to 10 issues, and it's never going to be republished. So we're in this really sticky situation, which is that if you want to enjoy it, you need to have your single issues. Now, I have all of my single issues, but it can be a bit of a pain pulling them out, reading them one issue at a time. It's not conducive. Not only that as well, but it's paper, and eventually they will break, damage, disintegrate into dust. So Dreamwave is not long for this world. So I decided to have a little bit of fun. Now, I am not by any means a creative person when it comes to building things. I'm not a DIY person. That's my wife's territory. Not DIY necessarily, but she does cross-stitch and she is absolutely fantastic at it, and it's a great skill, and I'm always jealous of the incredible stuff that she can produce, whereas I seem to just be able to break things. And so I fell down this really weird rabbit hole. Now, in addition to Dreamwave, I love comic books. I love the feel of them. I love the art. I love everything about them, especially when you have them in hand. And I love me a good hardback. Now, Dreamwave only ever produced one hardback, and it's this, Prime Directive, by Chris Saraceni and Pat Lee. This apparently was only limited to 200 copies as well, but you can find one cheap enough on eBay if you want. But yeah, like, Dreamwave in hardback is kind of a dream, you know, because hardbacks are nice. I like Dreamwave. So, given the fact that a lot of this stuff is never going to be republished, and given the fact that we never got it in hardback in the first place, I sort of decided to learn how to bind books. Would you like to see what I've done? So I decided to ease myself in on it, and this is what I've produced. This was my first attempt, and it is by far the worst attempt. No question about it. I decided to try and create, I will try and hold it up here so you can see, a hardback of Age of Wrath. Now, as I say, there was only 3 issues published, but this was my first attempt. I've taken the individual issues, I've sewn them, and what's really good about sewing them is that because you're going through the spine of the comic, it means that, and as you can see here, unlike other forms of binding, you're not losing anything in the middle. There's no gutter loss because it's following the natural seams of the comic book. And so literally you're stitching them together, you're gluing them together, and you're creating your own hardcover. And I will say that it's very readable and very usable in this format, but I did make some very silly mistakes when I was putting it together. So if at first you don't succeed, try again. And we have this. This is, and I appreciate there's nothing on here yet. It would be my intention to try and do something with the covers, put some kind of logo on or something like that. What I've done, because War Within was never done in hardback, I've sort of decided that I'm going to keep to this sort of uniform style of red and black, whereas when I do War and Peace, which is the second volume, I want to try and do just the black cover, just so that they fit together. And so this is, and it's weird because I'm working backwards, just basically because of spare copies that I have. This is War Within Volume 2 in hardback for the very first time. And as you can see, this was Simon Furman and Andrew Wildman. It's basically what it should be, and there's the Fallen. So yeah, this has been a little bit of a project for me, and it's kind of weird because, you know, nowadays you don't ask people for help, you go to YouTube videos, and this is literally how I've done it. I found a really good YouTube video that I've just watched a lot of times and followed it step by step, bought all of the materials, and I'm really pleased with the outcome. Now, these aren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. You'll see they're warping a little bit. Hopefully that will settle itself out. I really should just put something down there to flatten it. And the edges here are a bit too wide. It feels more like a menu than an actual comic book. But overall, really, really happy with how it's turned out. Now, the downsides to this is that, 1, you need the issues themselves, and 2, you need to damage the issues. But I think it's a step in the right direction. I can keep my single issues safe, and I can buy extras. So if you ever see somebody at a comic book convention buying a lot of Dreamwave, it's probably me. So anyway, nothing special about this particular video. I just thought it would be fun for you to have a look at. We've got the next episode of the podcast dropping next Wednesday, a week today. But I will be back either before then or just after with another video as well. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far. Please do go ahead and check all of the socials out down below. And I will catch you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye.